Hello, dear Kiwi family. Guys, you must been hearing a lot about Vibium automation tool, right? So in this particular video, you will get to know everything about Vibium, its architect, and why it's getting introduced, what real problem it is solving, and we will see some comparison between old architect versus new architect. So this particular video is going to be very valuable, and guys, trust me, this VM and the architect, it is going to be a very hot topic for all the QA interviews going forward. So after seeing this particular video, you will be getting everything that is required to know to answer any question about YBM and its architect. So stay connected with me. There we are going to jump into it step by step. So first thing first, what is YVM? So guys, YVM is our next generation AI native automation framework concept, and we must have been experiencing a lot of flaky test, right? And fragility. So that particular problem it is going to, getting solved by this AI native automation framework. And we are supposed to say from script centric automation to intent centric automation. So this particular word you will be hearing a lot, intent centric automation. We will get to know more about it, but it is for now think like that, like we are going to write down our intent as a tester, what exactly we wanted to automate, and how part is supposed to be take care by the automation engine itself. Now, what is the key point? So it is AI native by design, not just AI powered, but it is AI native by design. And as I said, it is focused on what to validate, not how to automate. So right now, what all the automation tool we have, you must have been experiencing, like how to automate is a major part, right? Like which selector supposed to choose, and what architect supposed to have, design pattern and all. So how part is taking a lot of time. Now after this YBM, on this particular YBM, we are going to focus more on what to validate and how to automate is supposed to take care by its engine. How that is in our in next couple of minutes, we are going to deep dive into it, and I'll let you know from very layman to advanced level. Stay connected with me. And the core automation intelligence lives in engine, not in our test code. So we are supposed to give the intent, and its intelligent engine supposed to take that as an input and convert into our automation script. And how it is going to work, again, we are going to see the architect, and that will be very clear. And it is aimed to reduce flaky test caused by UI and DOM changes. If you guys can recall, so we used to deal a lot of DOM changes, right? So if you are in a company working with some projects, then you can easily relate. If any fresher listening to me, then for you, like in a real time, a lot of UI changes, right? So customer request a new changes, then DOM changes, UI changes, then we have to keep um, catching the DOM and adopt those changes in our script, mainly in a XPath CSS and all those. Now coming, so what is YBM? That is clear. If I conclude, it is a AI native automation framework, and its engine supposed to take care how to automate, and what to automate we are supposed to give in a form of intent, right? And it is going to reduce the flaky test, and how that is we will see in a architect part just a few minutes after. Why IBM exists, guide? Right now we heavily depend upon the CSS and XPath locator, right? So I mean, XPath and CSS are the address of DOM. Like we have our homes and home address, like every element have their home and their address, and those address are a CSS, XPath, and mainly we use CSS and XPath. And for if we want more customization, we mostly use XPath, and if we want fast, then we use the CSS. So we will deep dive CSS versus XPath in some other videos. And but right now, so we heavily depend upon the CSS and XPath and other locators like ID, name, and all. And it breaks very frequently because we are in a agile environment. A UI changes very frequently. Change requested, even later change request, a later on a later phase, change requests are very welcomed in agile, and which is very good by the way. So, but it brings some certain situation where UI changes very frequently, and we have to accommodate that, right? So obviously it led to high maintenance, right? So that's why Vibium is getting introduced, and Vibium goal. So guys, this is very, I mean, I concluded those into one line: to move fragile logic from test script to a smart centralized engine. And a smart centralized engine, when I say, then for now you have to understand it is based on the BiDi engine, BiDi driver. And what is that? We are going to just see in very next minutes. And so the context is clear, like what is Vibium and why Vibium exists, what is the Vibium goal, and how Vibium is different from the traditional automation tool. So now we are deep diving a little bit more into the Vibium. So how Vibium is different from the traditional automation tool? So in traditional automation tools like Selenium, Playwright, Cypress, so a script, and it's a script and locator driven, right? We heavily depend upon the script and locator driven. So we can say in a literal language that we create our own engine, which is combine of script and locators. And DOM structure is a king. Guys, DOM we have to respect. So whatever the DOM it is, our test automation depend heavily upon that, right? So sometimes we automate a legacy UI, a new UI, and I mean in UI frames and shadow DOMs, and also it how the DOM is defined, how supposed to be your script and locators like. And if any UI changes, straightforwardly it is going to fail if you do not accommodate that particular changes into your script. Synchronization is melon. There is no automatic synchronization. And this is high maintenance, right? Now, YVM style automation. So you guys have to, I mean, I want you to please focus more on this particular area. So on Vibium style automation, cut to the Vibium, it is intent driven. So business goal comes first. So we are catering the client requirement, respecting the client requirement through this particular mechanism most, like never before. Intent driven, business goal first, even ahead than just behavior driven development. And it is a context based element discovery. So we have a DOM, and our engine, Vibium engine, supposed to have the references of those DOM and build one context, right? And how this is going to help? This is supposed to help when line number this attempt self-healing when UI changes. So how it's self-healing when UI changes? Because it store your context, which is consist of element discovery, right? So your DOM context it has, and it used to self-healing the UI changes. And very important part, it use browser signal event for synchronization. This is very beautiful, I mean, mechanism. We will, I will, I think it is very next point where we will deep dive into the architect. There you will get to know how user it use browse signals and event for synchronization, and how it's different from other traditional architect. Okay. And but like Vibium style is, again, if I conclude, it's intent driven and business goal first ahead than just BDD, and it is context based element discovery, very important point. And this is how it attempts self-healing when UI changes. It use browser signal, real-time browser signal event for synchronization, right? And hence it is lower maintenance over time. Now you are seeing one diagram, guys. So this is a common generic AI powered test automation flow, and YBM is also supposed to follow the same. So what point we have seen here, you will get you will visualize here. Set clear goals. This is nothing but your intent. So you mention your intent, you select the right AI tool, which is YBM in our case, and then you develop smart test script. When I say smart test script, it means you are using AI based engine, right? Which is obviously comes native with the YBM. And then you run the test, monitor the test. In case DOM change, it self heal and adapt. How? Because it is a context based element discovery. And then it continues optimization. So as simple as that. I hope you guys have clear picture how AI power test automation flow works and how YBM getting fit into it. Now, cut to what is WebDriver BiDi? So this is supposed to have very hot topic of all the interviews going forward very soon. And here I'll try to explain in a simplest manner possible. And please comment, guys, if you have any queries, by the way. Now, WebDriver BiDi. So we start from the name itself. What is BiDi? BiDi means bidirectional WebDriver. Bi means two, di means directional. It means both test and the browser can talk at the same time. And this is the huge advantage, and how, that also you will get to know. So WebDriver, it's a bidirectional WebDriver, and it's a modern browser automation protocol that enables two-way real-time communication between the automation client and the browser. So once you establish the connection, then frequently you can communicate on a real time between browser and the client. Unlike the traditional WebDriver where one communication at one time. So you made a request, you await and you get the response. Here you establish the connection and very frequently you can communicate on the real time, guys. So if I conclude, WebDriver BiDi is a bidirectional event-driven architecture where the browser and the test client stay connected. Stay connected. Guys, I'm focusing here. Stay connected continuously and talk to each other on a real time. So once the connection established, stay connected. Once the connection established, it communicate, client and browser communicate on a real time without a break. Hence, it is very fast. So this is also interview question. So why bidirectional BiDi is very fast? Because it established the connection once and then it keep communicated with between browser and client on a real time. Unlike traditional architect where you made a request, one request one a time, and you await and you get the response, then you communicate back. So this is just to give you guys a context how Selenium WebDriver architect work. So this is your Selenium binding, very left side if you see my cursor, whether it's Java, Ruby, C#, Python, JavaScript binding. It wrapped within JSON wire protocol, and then it communicate with the web drivers, and WebDriver communicates with the real browser. So this is what exactly going to replace with the BiDi structure, where you establish the connection once and you talk with browser and client on a real time. Okay, so this we got to know. We have a language binding which is wrapped by the JSON via protocol. It communicates with the WebDriver and WebDriver communicate with the real browser. Now, cut to what bidirectional really means in a simple analogy, guys. So, think about postal letter when you think about the classical WebDriver. So, you send a letter, you wait, and then you get a reply, right? And on a WebDriver BiDi, think about the phone call. Both sides talk freely, instant feedback, no waiting loop. And here is the architect, guys. So on a left side is a classical. It's very important to understand the classical first so that we can get to know exact differences between the BiDi. So green is a request, red is a response, and purple is a connection termination. So you see, you made a request on a green. If you can see the green arrow, you get the response, and then connection terminated. And then it goes and goes and goes and on as per your script. Okay. And this is obviously, it is very apparently that it is a time taking process. Now WebSocket, which is a BiDi. So here you see on a purple, you establish the connection as very last, you end the connection at very end, and now you freely communicate. Green is a request, red is a response. Green is a request, red is a response. So on a real time communication getting happening on a real time, right? And you establish the connection once and then you communicating freely. So obviously, and since you do not need to establish connection on a each request, hence it is very fast. And so this is the structure, guys, and this is how it different. You can pause the video and you can see some, I mean, longer minute if you want, but I think it's pretty much it about its architect. And now I have summarized, I mean, a point wise comparison of classic WebDriver and WebDriver BiDi, and I'll explain each and every part. So connection on a classic WebDriver, it's a short-lived, right? And on a WebDriver BiDi, it's a persistent, it's a continuous, it's stay connected continuous because you establish connection once and you communicate under that particular umbrella. Communication is a one way, so one communication at a time. In BiDi, as a name suggests, it's a two-way communication and on a real time. And very important point, event is pulled. Event is pulled. So what pulled means, and in BiDi is post, and what post means. So in pulled, so you request like, hey, is browser ready? Is browser ready? Is browser ready? And then your browser responds, okay, I'm ready now. So you must have write the code like while browser ready, time dot sleep one, right? So it is like it is a poll based. So you keep asking, and then when it ready, it give you a response. And post means, so postman, guys, it communication happens on a real time between client and browser. So it is not like you keep asking and then only you get the response. The request and response and the communication happens automatically. So this is the biggest change, guys. On a pull, you keep asking a question and then you get a response, and on a push mechanism, the communication happens automatically between a client and browser. I hope you got the clear picture now. On a sync model, it is a wait based, right? So when you ask the question, you have to wait until you get answered. It is a event based. So when I say event based, so it's again a real time communication. All your network log, your DOM changes that is stored in a context, and the communication happens on a real time. Flakiness very higher in a classic WebDriver, and in BiDi, obviously by nature it is supposed to have very less flaky. AI readiness, guys. In a classical WebDriver, it's a bit poor because you have to tweak a lot. And in BiDi, it's very excellent because it's a AI in native. So this is it, guys. So I think you guys have clear the picture what is Vibium and how WebDriver BiDi architect work. And then in a next video, I will run whatever Vibium is ready. I will set up and will run. Stay connected. And any suggestion, any question, just mention the comment. You will get the answer. Thank you so much, my dear Kiwi family. Bye bye.